Hello YouTube friends and artists. Welcome back to my channel. I actually have been working super hard on an altered book journal, something that's super functional. So not just like an art journal, it is actually functional as a journal, a personal journal. I was excited to do something like this for a while, and I finally put my mind to it and just went all in and finished one. Well, 99%, because I might do something to the cover. But I'm going to do a flip through with you today, and I'm going to be editing my hours of videos as I worked on this. So I'm excited to present a video from the very beginning to the very end, leading up to a flip through of a completed altered book journal. So that's where all the hard work went in. And in that time, I got sick twice. Once with like a stomach virus, and once with some woman issues, and my car then broke down. So I had those things happening in the midst of trying to finish and complete this for you, but I was able to do it within a week. So I feel pretty proud of myself for that. So we did it. And I will be editing these videos for hours, and I will get this to you, I'm hoping by tonight, but you won't even know, because you'll see this video and then it'll all be together and you won't even know that whole process. So I'm gonna work really hard on that for you guys. I can't wait to give it to you and present it to you on my channel. I love doing these things, like I said, and I love giving you guys the content and the inspiration to be able to do these things for yourself. Something pretty tragic happened in the midst of this week as well. I won't get into personal details, but someone that I looked up to, saw as somewhat of a protector, someone that I confided in, someone that was supposed to be looking out for me during a really hard time. They were someone in the position of authority. They fell pretty far, and they did some things that they will have a decision that they'll live with for the rest of their lives, and they will actually be locked up for probably the rest of their life. So it has messed with me a lot mentally. So working in this journal has been super helpful to kind of meditate and think and process as I'm working through the journal. So, you know, as I've said it many times, art is my therapy, and this couldn't be more true as I worked in this journal this week. Between my illnesses and the issues with my car, and then obviously the biggest one is when someone in a split second changed their whole life, their whole family's life, and the people that they harmed. So there's a lot that goes into that. I wish I could be more specific, but it's not my story to tell. But I'm extremely sad. I'm extremely, I don't want to say confused, because I understand how humans can fall from grace for sure, because I'm not anyone special, but it's a very sad situation for many people, and not even just sad, it's tragic. It's a tragic situation. So yeah, this is why I push these videos. This is why I get these things out there to you. It is a matter of mental health and trying to be helpful to people when they're going through the worst of it. And I don't even mean me going through this. I mean even people like the person I'm speaking of that was in a place of authority and that counseled me. You know, finding healthy avenues is just incredibly important in our lives, because life is extremely hard. So this is a very important thing that I do here with these videos. So I know that's pretty serious, but I just wanted to share that because it is something that's happened. I'm gonna go ahead and do the flip through, which I'm really excited. And I think it'll be my first actual like beginning to end flip through. So that's fun. And then start to edit. So glad to be here with you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. I chose this book after going through one or two other books that were similar, but they were falling apart and I would have had to pretty much take them to the book ER before actually using them for this project. So I ended up using this one and I'm super, super happy with it. So as I said, I am taking out every other page to start, and then I will go through and take out more pages as necessary. I know most people have more of a plan than that, but that's typically how I go about it. I take out one at a time, and then I will kind of see what's needed as I go. I'm showing you some of the things that I have found in the actual textbook, so some cool stuff that was in there. I ended up using some of it in the journal itself. Anyway, I like to use hardcover books, but other than that, I kind of just take it from there and work around the book to make my altered books. So, fun little fact, of 10 and a half hours of footage, 630 minutes, I got this down to 61 minutes and 13 seconds. Possibly it'll be even less than that as I'm editing it. So hopefully it's cohesive, but I had to whittle away at those minutes, so that it was a reasonable amount of time to post on YouTube. So I hope you enjoy, I hope it's cohesive, and like I said, get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack, and either relax or create with me. I'm so glad you're here. One of the biggest goals I had in mind for this journal was to have plenty of space to write. So I made a lot of pockets and a lot of postcards and images that you could write on or write on the back of, and lots of places where it was just paper to write on. So that was a goal when I went in to make this journal, to have it very functional as a journal. I always start by adding gesso to each page, even if I don't end up using it for what it's there for, which is to create a tooth, almost like a dryness that you can still write on. And it also covers up those words. Sometimes I end up just covering it all up. Other times it's where you can write on it on the sides where it comes through behind the images and things like that. So I always start with the gesso to cover those pages. All the vintage photos in this journal are actual photos that I bought at thrift stores. I'm pretty obsessed. I can spend hours just going through them at thrift stores, and I end up actually just organizing it for them, so I'm sure people like it when I go through their photos. And yeah, so these aren't Tim Holtz. These are real people, real vintage photos from different families and things. I just absolutely love them. So everything in this journal is actual photos that I found at thrift stores. During my flip through, I did mention why I love adding fabric. One of those would be because it makes it nice and crispy with that Mod Podge on top. I love the texture it creates. But another reason is that I like to have the strings, and I like to have the overlap on the sides or on the bottoms or tops or whatever of the pages, so that it creates a nice interest on the edges of the book when you have it open on the side. Hopefully this part isn't too confusing to watch. I just made a tri-fold, so it was one extra page added on to that side page. And you can fold it over, and that gives you 3 pages instead of just the 2. And so I'm kind of going back and forth as I'm putting stuff on it, but it's a fairly simple process. But I just use the tape, and that way it can fold over, and I try to cover the tape as much as I can if it doesn't look aesthetic to what I'm trying to make. But anyway, yeah, I hope it's not too confusing to watch as I'm flipping it back and forth and working on the tri-fold there. Something that I failed to mention in the flip through is this is actually homemade paper that I used from different bits I had at home. I think even I used some turmeric to help make that color in the mix, and then the blender and the using the water and all that stuff, and then the mold and decal to finish it, and then with the sponge and everything. So it was a whole process, but I made that paper at home. I am going to go through from beginning to end. The journal I made, it's an altered book journal. It's an actual journal, not necessarily an art journal, because you will be able to use this in a very functional way. All the places you need to get out your thoughts. And I don't know, I think it's called, I'm not going to be able to think of the name of the book, but there's a book that discusses artists and about when they get stuck, but it talks about morning pages, and it talks about journaling every day and about getting all your thoughts out. And since I started reading that book and started doing that a couple years ago, journaling very much changed my life. So not only was this something that I really enjoy doing in general, because I love to work in books, and books have been something very special to me my whole life, very autistically special. So, but journaling has changed my life, and art has changed my life. So these are things I'm very passionate about, and I hope you guys can see that. So I'm going to start at the beginning. And this was a modern advanced accounting I guess it's a school workbook and textbook. So I thought the cover was kind of cool looking and almost made me think of like fish eggs. Don't ask, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it made me think of. I loved everything about it. I love that it's hardback, so it's very durable. And here we go. Let's get to the start of the start. I will not add anything here because I figure whether it's me, whoever ends up with this journal, will be able to make it very personal on these first pages. These things that I added all have very special meaning to me because typically of me as I am, I have had things for years or several months. This being one of them from a place called a Repurpose Project. This was somebody's artwork and I was able to include it. I always love to include things like that, very personal to someone. Became something special to me. Same thing, this was paper that someone made, which gives a little more space for journaling here. Very nice vintage picture here. And let's turn the page. This is a telegram, and it says the date here, April 16th, 1940. And it says at 8:13 p.m. or a.m., I'm not sure. And it says, birthday greeting to Miss Mabel Matthews. It gives the address from Miami, Florida. Many happy returns, and may this birthday be just another milestone along your pathway to success and happiness. Love, Jimmy Tomberton. Super cool. Inside here is a little note card with beautiful artwork, and you can journal in there, as well as a pretty cool postcard inside that pocket that you can journal on. Turn the page. Plenty of journaling space here. This is some of that piano. I don't know the name of it, but some type of piano paper. It's really cool that I found. And I left the little flip here. And this is a nice journaling page. This gives room to journal here. And actually, this came from an old ROTC book, an ROTC manual for essentially military schools. And it's really old. I'm thinking it was like 30s or 40s. I'm not 100% sure. So this is another journaling page, another postcard that can be written on the back. And this is a nice stationery card. I loved these when I bought them. Actually, this was also from the Repurpose Project in Gainesville, Florida. And I put a vintage picture there and plenty of space to do some journaling in there as well. Keep going. This is an old birthday card for a child, and I put it inside a pocket, and it is empty. So you could journal on this page, journal on the card. Here is another postcard. It was pretty cool. Postcard where you can journal. I made these pockets out of paper that I did jelly prints on. Again, I eventually will make a jelly print video. I'm not expert at it, but I could give you ideas. This is actually a paper that came from this book itself, and I made it into a pocket. And this is a note card. I think this is to give some advertisement for a show that was coming up for the Strass Center in Tampa, Florida. Frankenstein, October 18th through November 12th. So a little postcard for that. Here is a notebook that's actually was for preschool kids, and it's like a little notebook for journaling for kids. But I put some of the distress ink to make it look a little more vintage on the sides. And this was a postcard type thing that I had collaged prior a few years ago, and I added it to the back to have a little more interest. I used the distress ink, just the actual squares, and made that design there on that page. This was from a local magazine, art magazine. I paint my heart and together we grow. I thought it was nice, and I liked the little quote. This looks like one of the old quill type pens, which is like, I thought it was pretty cool for the journaling idea. This is this is a paper bag that a record came in. Here is a quote by Vernon Blake. Each art exists because the idea special to it cannot be transmitted otherwise. I put some fabric. I love the texture of fabric that has the Mod Podge on it. It's like a hard texture. I just love it. So this also came from that ROTC book about military courtesy and discipline. interesting pictures. There was some very not so politically correct pictures in there. And I made it to where you could open it up trifold and have plenty of journaling spaces. This is a sketch of a nude woman. Here's another area for a lot of areas to journal and write. This came from the Repurpose Project as well. I'm not quite sure what these are, but they had nice space on the back, and these are from 1978. Space on the back to write on. I made a pocket here. Some more of that awesome crunchy fabric I glued in. This is, I'm not really going to take it out, but it has a whole back on it that you could write on it. But this is an actual vintage photo. This isn't Tim Holtz or anything. This is something that I bought at a thrift store. I buy plenty of those pictures from thrift stores. This is not a pocket. I just wanted it to match the fabric. And then there's some journaling that can be done here and on the back of this picture. These are just journaling pages. I did a lot of splatter paint on the back here. I thought it was fun and colorful. These are actually from the Outback Steakhouse coasters, and I used them I put little quotes on the back. In my art, I have sought to get life and its meaning clarified for me. It has also been my intention to help others clarify life for themselves. So I thought that was cool. And then another quote I put on the back of this one: art should make you feel something. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. Here we go. Here is some pretty images from, again, that local art magazine that I have. And this is a nice vintage wedding picture that I have. Pretty awesome. And some space to write. It says, I cannot read it necessarily, but Times Candid. I can't read a date or anything, but it's a nice wedding photo. I love it. I created a pocket from the magazine. And here is some more fun. Actually, this is an artist at a craft fair, had these little things, and it has their information on the back for the artist. Let's open the pocket, put it back. Another little postcard. I'm actually thinking I got this as well at the Repurpose Project, so I'm not sure exactly where it came from as far as like what it's for, but it's, yeah, from that Repurpose Project. Here is another postcard. Here, I can get it out. So that's a little arty postcard. I don't know exactly where that's from either, but to write on the back of. Some journaling space, some dried flower. I think it's faux. I don't think these are real, but some faux dried flowers, and then a place to journal here. Just a place to journal. This actually came from an art book, and it's a great texture. This came from that same art book with some artworks in it and plenty of space to journal. Some beautiful pictures again, Repurpose Project, and then from a thrift store of a vintage picture, both of them vintage, really. Really cool pictures, space to write on the back of them. Some of my abstract work I did underneath. Had a good time making that. I love abstract art. So some of my videos will contain that, but a lot of it is, you see my chunky books, which you can see I absolutely adore. Some space to journal or maybe add your own pages or whatever you would like to this, like images or quotes or something. Just some journaling pages here. Some more area where you could write. This came from an old microwave cookbook. Meal-in-One Microwave from Lipton. And this also came from that book. Here is some pockets. This was an envelope with an old kind of graphic postcard to write on. And these are the ATCs I made that I wanted to include. I thought it was cool because it had the same like Carpenter's tape there. So I added it. It went together very nicely. And there's just some pockets there. Some pretty Tim Holtz translucent type pictures there. A tag from some jeans that I painted and embellished. It says perfectly functional. Yeah, right. But then we have another page where you can do some journaling. Here is a doily. It's a vintage doily. This came from a thrift store in Plant City, Florida. This is a nice thing I cut out of a magazine. A story in every piece of art. This is an old, I don't know if you've ever been to like Sunday school. So this is an old postcard that they would send or give. It says, "Want to know a secret? We missed you." And it's just about coming back to the Bible study or to the Sunday school. I have no idea what these cards are for. I think they might be, this is just my brain, that they might be some type of card to clock in or something like that, but they could be anything. I'm not sure. These are these old library, like date due from the books. And I stuck those in there. That one looks like it got a little glue. I don't want that. So I don't want the stick. This is just a piece of paper again from that art book. Nice thick paper. It says, "Your dreams matter. Your life matter." Let's start again. Your dreams matter. Your life matters. You matter. Absolutely. This is an old recipe card. This is a nice picture that I really liked. She looks super happy. I love to see people happy. Making progress means making sometimes devastating mistakes and then learning from them. Absolutely. Here's another book that I've had forever, and it's something that can be journaled in. So there is lots of journaling spaces in this altered book journal. So proud of that. This is some embroidery that I had bought. I just loved it. It says, "I can't adult today." It's me most days. So very fitting. And then I thought this kind of went with it. "I can't adult today," and it says "time off." This is actually from the embroidery. I put it to the edge where I had cut it off on this side. And there's lots of journaling space there. These are some fabric circles. Who knows? I probably bought it from the Repurpose Project, but I could have gotten it from anywhere. Tried to fancy it up, make it look pretty awesome. And there's some journaling spaces that you could write. And then I left, last thing, it says, "Why me?" question mark. And I kind of had that in my head from the things that I talked about this week, where the devastating things that have happened, and sometimes we question things. And so in my mind, it just fits. So it says, "Why me?" question mark. And then we have our back pages here to write on. And then, if somebody wants to embellish, or if I embellish, and then the back pages as well, and the back of the book. And it looks absolutely delicious. It does have an open, they call it a gator mouth, which I guess is perfect. I'm a Floridian. So I just think it's absolutely gorgeous and super functional. So that is my first flip through. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to make many more. And I will see you on the other side with how I made this journal.